This is World of Business, your weekly cutting-edge business show where we delve into the trending business issues and latest developments on the stock market. We also herald unsung but thriving business entrepreneurs on this show. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of your premier business show. I am Alvin Matar. The government is set to unveil new interventions to deal with the recent volatility affecting the Zimbabwe dollar, discrepancies between the Zim dollar and the United States dollar and the market rate and interbank have been noted so far. We will unpack this discussion. In the second segment, we will have guests, economist Mr. Kipson Gundani and Mr. Trymore Muhlanga. But first, we take a look at the exchange rate as of today.
Exchange rates as of Wednesday, where the Zimbabwe dollar to the USD interbank rate was at $9,414.43. The Zimbabwe dollar to the Great Britain pound interbank rate was at $11,955.50. The Zimbabwe dollar to the euro interbank rate was at $10,225.13. The Zimbabwe dollar to the South African rand interbank rate was at 20 cents. The Zimbabwe dollar to the Botswana pula interbank rate was at $687.41.
We also give you commodity prices on the global market.
Commodity prices on the global market as of Wednesday afternoon were gold per ounce traded at $2,045.40 after it went up by 0.01 percentage points. Silver per ounce traded at $22.54 after it went up by 0.32 percentage points. Copper per pound traded at $381.15 after it went up by 0.47 percentage points. Platinum per ounce traded at $905.16 after it went down by 0.05 percentage points.
That is all we had for the first segment of World of Business. Do join us in the second segment as we discuss more things in the business arena. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome. This is the second segment of World of Business. Now, as said earlier on, the government is set to make new interventions to deal with the recent volatility affecting the Zimbabwe dollar. Now, discrepancies between the Zim dollar and the United States dollar have been noted and are a cause of concern. We will unpack this discussion with guests Kipson Gundani, CEO of CEO Africa Roundtable, and Trymore Muhlanga, an economist. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, let's dive deep straight into it. The government is set to unveil new interventions, which may include reforming the foreign currency auction system and boosting foreign currency supply in the market. To what extent will these reforms help to deal with the recent volatility affecting the Zimbabwe dollar? We'll start with you, Kipson.
Thank you. Firstly, we need to understand that exchange rate is always a monetary phenomenon. So the depreciation of the Zim dollar that we are seeing in the market recently can be best explained by the nominal values of the two currencies and the stocks of them in the market. This can only be explained by an increase in quantum of Zim dollars in the market. But more importantly, it can also be explained by a self-fulfilling behavior as a result of what we call forward pricing. When economic agents expect that the Zim dollar will depreciate tomorrow, they try to forward price or to price at a rate that is higher than the current rate at that moment. And this becomes self-fulfilling in the sense that they will catch up with that particular rate. So that actually speeds up the depreciation of the Zimbabwean dollar. So the reforms that the government that are talking about can only be meaningful and impactful to hold this coach if they are going to address the money supply issues, particularly of the Zim dollar. But more importantly, they should also try to address the confidence matters, which is a deep-seated challenge, which requires more macroeconomic and robust reforms over and above just looking at the auction system and a few monetary parameters.
Okay, so now, Trymore, Kipson is saying that this is just part of something massive that has to be tackled. Do you agree with what he's saying?
Thank you, Marvin. Good day, and thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm in agreement totally. I'll just pick up from where he left. So the phenomenon is one of a deficiency of demand in the local currency. What I would hope and wish to see, which I think might serve our interests better than reforms on the auction market, is similar to what we did in May, June last year, 2023. There were certain interventions, and I'll single out just one, which entailed an increase in preference for local currency, including for QPDs, for tax payments, and that policy enhanced the demand for the Zimbabwean dollar. So from where Kipson is talking about supply and demand, with the Zimbabwean dollar, what you then see is we have an excess supply of it and very low demand for it. Unfortunately, that low demand also stems from government's demand for it. So I would actually advise government to show preference for the Zim dollar, ask for everyone to pay maybe the majority of their foreign, of their tax obligations in Zimbabwe dollars. You get a scramble for the Zimbabwe dollar. It's a supply and demand issue. Yeah.
So the issue now is that most of the taxes are being paid using foreign currency instead of our local currency. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying in a manner of speaking. We have shown preference for the US dollar. If you look at the supply of the US dollar in Zimbabwe, it is not that bad that we could always have these volatilities. You compare our foreign currency generation with economies like Kenya and all those economies in the region.
So now the Zimbabwe dollar has lost significant ground to the United States dollar. To what extent can we attribute the recent weakening of the local currency to speculative behavior and the scarcity of hard currency, as we have been saying so far?
Speculative behavior is a reality, but it's only a result of a deep-seated misalignment in the economy. People begin to speculate because the policy framework or the policy position allows them to do so. So you have got a situation whereby already the demand mechanism in the market does not favor the Zimbabwean dollar. He highlighted the issue of the government not demanding the Zim dollar despite the government being the sole issuer of that particular currency, and also despite the government being the biggest spender in the economy. So the government, in my view, is failing to provide that much needed demand on the fiscal front, so that at least you give credibility and value to the Zimbabwean dollar. So when you have that scenario where you've got a misalignment, people then begin to speculate. Economic agents are rational. They pick positions given that misalignment. And that misalignment can be misconstrued to be speculative behavior. But its origins are actually the misalignment that is there in the macroeconomic framework.
Now, Trymore, the mitigation to these problems may seem to be very obvious, but how do you propose that these be fixed?
Thank you. Yeah, I already touched a bit on that.
Yeah, you can as well.
It just requires us taking a paradigm shift and walking the talk. We are all aware that government has laid a road map that will see monocurrency in the form of Zimbabwe dollar. So what I would think would help us is for us to actually start laying that groundwork, because there is a long way to go to preference of the Zim dollar as the local, as the single currency of trade. So the challenges we have are simply that people have seen that there is value to be obtained in the US dollar and they prefer that particular currency for trade. So let's just ensure we build the confidence in the Zimbabwean dollar and build the demand for it.
Okay, so now let's talk about another trend that we see on a yearly basis. We are moving towards the end of January, and every January we see a demand on foreign currency going up. What is causing that?
Of course, there are many factors. You find January is the beginning of the year. Companies are restocking raw materials. They're importing big time. And also, you find most people might prefer to travel during January because prices are low. So the demand for currency, for Forex, naturally goes up. And also, because it's a new year, and when people are not seeing significant policy shifts, they also take long-term positions. So they prefer holding US dollars now. So every Zim dollar that comes their way, they dispose. So that puts pressure on the exchange rate, and we begin to see this depreciation.
Oh, good thing that you now talk of the exchange rate. That was going to be my follow-up question. On the parallel market, the exchange rate has weakened from $1 to 9,800 during the last week of December, to $1 to 14,500 as of this week. On the official market, comparing, the rate stood at $1 to 5,903 on December 29, and has since now rose up to $1 to $9,102.63. How do you further explain these discrepancies?
So one would be tempted to say there is a natural creation of money through credit expansion, but that is not the correct position. Like I said in my earlier introduction, this is a monetary phenomenon.
Yes.
There is no explanation other than the increase in the Zim dollar money supply in the economy. And one is tempted to think, where is now the source of this increase? I would like to assume this is as a result of government behavior, as it pays off, particularly contractors and everything else. And you are paying off in a currency that perhaps you and me do not hold for long for fear of loss of value. So you dispose off and the rate goes up. And remember the point I talked about, once the rate starts to go up, economic agents are afraid of losing value, so they pick positions in the forward price. So it becomes a spiral effect and a downfall. So it keeps going on and on. So we are actually sitting on a Zim dollar, which is a beleaguered currency. And to hold this, the ultimate solution rests in generating demand for it. Anything that is valuable, that is useful, people will demand it. For instance, the government can wake up to say, all taxes are now payable in Zim dollar. We don't want your US dollar. People will scramble for the Zim dollar, all right? And that will self-correct the rate.
Yeah, good thing. Now, finally, our final question. The central bank is targeting a month-on-month inflation rate of less than 3% throughout 2024. Now, this may be a mitigation measure. We are talking about the problems, right? What needs to be done by both government and different economic sectors within the industry to ensure that the exchange rate stability in the economy and to reduce inflation rate?
All right, thank you. Yeah, so it stems from money supply through exchange rate to price level. That's the causality in the main. So I think if we manage to keep our printing low and how to curb reserve money growth and all that, and also then ensure that we reduce the inordinate demand on US dollars, I think that's how we can win this war. Because in essence, when you look at the increasing demand or shortages for Forex, It's not just that the supply is low. It's also because in Zimbabwe, we are not demanding the US dollar just for importing rather. We are demanding the US dollar to purchase products in Zimbabwe, which should be purchased in Zim dollars. Yeah, so that's how we can, as for its attainability, yeah, it's going to take a lot of doing, but if we stay positive, because all of this is sentiment, expectations, and like Kipson says, expectations are a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Kipson, anything to add to that?
Sure. So you see, you now also have now a secondary problem on top of what Trymore is saying. We are also beginning to see US dollar inflation.
Exactly.
For example, I was reading an article today which is saying a loaf of bread is now $1.30.
Yes.
That same loaf of bread is going for around 70 cents in Zambia. Yeah. What explains the discrepancy? We are all importers of wheat. Actually, Zim we are boasting to say we are now self-sufficient in terms of wheat. It's a policy distortion issue. Because there's a policy that says you can only price so much above the official rate. People try then to convert that into US dollar terms, and you end up with a very high US dollar price. So you are punishing citizens for asking them to pay actually more in US dollar terms for something that ordinarily should be cheap. So we need to sanitize this whole environment and make sure that we create a real demand for our own currency if we are serious about the roadmap to monocurrency. So
many things to say in too much little time. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming through to World of Business. That was the CEO of CEO Africa Roundtable, Kipson Gundani, and economist Trymore Muhlanga. Thank you, gentlemen, once again for helping us unpick this issue, which seems to be very topical on the market right now. I hope that our viewers have got one or two things that they took away from this segment. Well, that brings us to an end of the second segment of World of Business. And when we come back in the third and final segment of our show, we take a look at the Entrepreneur of the Week. Stay tuned. Welcome to the third and final segment of World of Business, where we give you the spotlight on our Entrepreneur of the Week. Now, the World of Business team spoke to Mr. Kudzai Pasipanojga, a local businessman who started his lifestyle and fitness company supporting sporting and recreational activities. Let us hear more from Sela Marere as she speaks to Mr. Pasipanojga.
Today, unlike the previous episodes, we have visited a young entrepreneur, a fitness fanatic who started a lifestyle and fitness company that celebrates exercising and keeping fit, and has also started a clothing brand that supports this movement as well. Talk about activities that have come to curb against drug and substance abuse. This has also formed a basis for the youth to find a place for escapism as they shun these activities. We're talking about none other than Mr. Kudzai Pasipanojga, who is going to tell us more about his initiatives in this conversation. Hello, Mr. Pasipanojga, and thank you so much for joining us today. For those who are seeing you for the first time, some may wonder who is Kudzai Pasipanojga, and for the benefit of those, can you tell us about yourself and your line of work?
Okay, thank you. My name is Kudzai Pasipanojga. I'm a fitness fanatic. I love fitness because I have seen what it has done to myself and to a lot of other people. But because of that, we have developed a movement which is called Musavunda. We have formed an organization which is called Musavunda Fitness and Lifestyle, where we are promoting health living, where we are promoting a lifestyle of wellness. So we say health living means also wellness, we also promote productivity, excellence.
You said you're into fitness and lifestyle. Is there a particular reason why you chose this particular field?
No, so of course when I was young I was doing sports at school, but not very much. But then when I was growing up, I actually realized that for me to be an effective person, I have to be a fit person. For me to chase a doctor away from me, I have to be a fit person. For me not to be engaged into other things that are bad or that are not good, like drug abuse and so forth, you have to engage into fitness. So as soon as I realized that, I then said, let's form a movement that is only not promoting what I do, but also to ensure that we help others. We have actually formed an academy which takes care of the young ones, to promote them to stop drug abuse, to stop things that are not good. So we have got a very big pool of people. And then there's another important thing that we have also done. We are also promoting sporting events. So we do and run events on behalf of other organizations. We have done for a lot of people. We have done for Air Force, we have done for Moonlight, we are doing for St. Georgeans, we are doing for a lot of corporates who are coming to us and say, do our marathons, do our wellness activity. So we are an all-encompassing movement which is about promoting health living and fitness lifestyle.
Okay. So most people have noticed and have often asked, why is it that the CEO or the owner of the company is also participating in these activities so much? You're someone who is not withdrawn from what you're doing. Is there a particular reason why you choose to be a part of it, or you have seen the benefits that come with it?
I think it's both ways, the benefits, but it's more of the benefits that come with it. I'm also a fanatic. I take it as a hobby. I do many runs, like last week, but one I was actually in Dubai for the Dubai Marathon.
So, Mr. Paspanojika, we have noticed that sports tourism is something that most people are still skeptical about, because if you look at it, even in the gyms, there are very few people that are taking part in exercising and also taking part in these recreational activities. What's your comment when it comes to embracing sporting activities in Zimbabwe? Because we know that being healthy is the future, is the goal for everyone.
It's been difficult, it's been tough. When we started in 2022 with this movement. It's really been difficult. And we have been seeing very few people coming to our activities. But we have seen through serious pushing, through vigorous advertising of the movement, we have seen a lot of people are coming in. You will find that at our events, you will see people as young as 16 years and as old as 70 years coming to participate at our movement. So we're actually seeing that people are actually embracing the movement. They are really participating into them now.
So earlier on you mentioned that you started this movement as a way of creating a source of escapism for the youths, especially those that are into drug and substance abuse. Is there a particular criteria that you use when it comes to people that can join you, or it's for everyone and any age?
So what we have done is our movement is about everyone. Our movement is not for the elite, it's not for those who are very talented, it's not for those who are less talented. We encourage everyone to come, and we have actually gone to the ghetto to promote this thing. So we have got actually under our academy, we have been people who have been abusing drugs, and they are now under us. Under our movement, we have got people who have been abusing drugs, but they are now working for us, doing various things. We have got people who manufacture some of our products and do a lot of admin work. So this is how we are promoting, and we are saying it's not only for those who have been in drug abuse, it's not only for the big or for the small, it's for the young or for elderly, but it's for everyone.
So I like that you mentioned that most of the people that are actually joining this movement are the young people, the youths. And like the president is always emphasizing that we need to exploit the youth's dividend to develop the nation of Zimbabwe. So what's your comment when it comes to youth empowerment, and also from the experience that you've had so far? How have the youths been taking this exercise, and what more should they do in order to embrace this, both as a hobby and also as a source of income?
Yeah, you know, the youth, of course, they've been coming and going, but we've seen that once they catch the wind, once they start to get involved, they've got energy. We have seen that it has worked well. I'll give you an example. We went to the UZ, we managed to get about 20 people who are now working for the movement. But when they came in, they were just coming to participate, but then they said, no, this is a noble thing. They are now coming. While they are at college, they are becoming part-time. When we are having an event, they will come and do even some of the manual jobs because they know the benefit of those things. So the youth are coming in, and once they catch it, and they're actually spreading the word. So the youth are the anchor of our organization. But the other important thing that we have also seen is we have seen corporate executives, leaders in the corporate world, community leaders, they're actually coming and be part of the movement. And we have actually realized that the more these leaders come and take part in these fitness activities, the more they are stronger in their decision making.
Okay. So you're saying, in short, this thing doesn't know no age.
It doesn't
Anyone
know,
can come
yeah.
in, but even the
No age, no income. The president can actually come. We encourage it.
So in your own view, besides being the managing director, also as a sports fanatic, why is it important for the citizens of Zimbabwe to embrace recreational activities, for example, these sporting activities, movements like yours, when they're introduced to the people? Why is it important for them to embrace them at first go?
Yeah, so the major skepticism that we faced when we started this movement is people that it's very expensive to engage into fitness lifestyle. But we've said you don't have to go to the gym. You can do it at home. You can do it in the backyard. And also we have done gyms like ourselves. We have got something we are doing at Kensington, which is very cheap. It's $20 a month, which the man is not even able to cover our costs. But we are saying we are doing this thing to promote this movement. So when people hear about gym, about fitness lifestyle, they think that is something which is very expensive. Even though we've tried to make our apparel entry level, very cheap, but quality, comfortable sweat management. So ourselves, we know that we will not be involved in the liberation struggle or in any other big things to contribute to our nation. But we believe that through fitness, we are employing and saying a lot of youth should come and participate. And we know that once we do that, we are reducing the health bill. So yeah, those challenges that we're facing, people thought that is very, very expensive. And people actually thought that is for the rich. And some people thought that is for the elite. But we are trying to demystify that. That's why we are going into the ghettos. That's why we want to go to the rural areas. That's why we are going everywhere to promote it and to saying, guys, this is not for a certain group of people. This is for everyone. And once you start to do those things, they'll actually help you in the long run.
Okay. So we cannot run away from the value addition element, as it forms one of the critical factors under the National Development Strategy 1. And as a movement, how would you say that you are touching on this aspect, looking at both the activities that you're doing and the people that you're involved with?
Yeah, I mean, there are quite a lot. I will first of all start with, at our events, we have 2,000 people coming. And through that, we have created income for various people who will be participating at that level. And people will be coming to do various activities. We are helping health-wise. Number two, we have actually employed people. We said we do apparel. People who sell apparel, people who make the apparel, people who merchandise the apparel, people who advertise the apparel. Directly is employing about 70 people, and indirectly about 300 people who are managing. So we are not really a small thing, and we believe that in the next year or two, we will really be a first record. In Zimbabwe, we are known all over. We are the biggest sporting brand, but we believe that in the next 2-3 years, we want to get into the region, and we really want to get international. We want to challenge Nike, we want to challenge Adidas, and we believe that once we continue on that path, we will definitely get there.
So we've noticed that there are a lot of men that take part in these opportunities and in these sporting activities. Is there a particular reason why we have more men participating than women? Is there something that you'd like to say to women when it comes to embracing sporting activities?
Yes, it depends with the workout. If we look at the weights and the bodybuilding and the strength, you will find more men. But if we look at the aerobics, the cardio, you will find more women.
Is this supposed to be like that? Like this one is for women?
Well, you know, men, the muscular, the macho side of it, you will see more men in the bodybuilding. And also in running, we see a lot of women there. Of course, short distance, long distance, we'll see a lot of men. So we have seen a fair chance, a fair size, fair chunk of women that are coming to participate in this activity. But the most thing that is really exciting me is the elderly, the women that are in their 50s, in their 60s, in their 70s.
So we have talked about Kudzaipa Spanojga as an entrepreneur and as a fitness fanatic. Now for the benefit of the citizens and those of your fans that are out there, what would you like to tell them as words of inspiration at this point, the young and the old, especially when it comes to health and fitness?
Yeah, I think what I want to encourage the people of Zimbabwe is it's not too late to start. You can start now, and you don't have to wait for tomorrow. And you are not too late, you are not too behind, you are not too early. You can start now with your fitness journey, whether you are 15 years old, 30 years old, 60, 70, 80 years old. You can even start your fitness journey. And the other thing that I also want to encourage you, you don't have to be excessive even when you start. You can start with very, very simple and basic routines. The most important thing about fitness is consistency. If you are consistent, you'll be able to continue with the journey. Don't start with the very big things. Start with the basic things. And in your entrepreneurship, don't expect things to happen in a very short period of time. It can happen after 3 months, 6 months, but once you are consistent and you pursue, you will definitely get the reward. The most important thing is the vision, and once you push for the vision will make a way for itself. So basically, that's my encouragement to the people of Zimbabwe and the youth.
A very educational conversation we have had today with Mr. Kudzaipa Spanojika, a youthful entrepreneur and a fitness fanatic who has made it clear that exercising and keeping fit forms the basis of living a long life. And that brings an end to this week's segment of our Entrepreneur of the Week. Be sure to join us again next week. It's now back to the studio.
That was the third and final segment of World of Business, and that brings us to the end of this week's edition of the show. Join us again next week as we take a look at a different topical issue in the world of business. Good night.